In a controversial decision, a primary school in Adelaide has banned students from hugging each other. Surely the most important child-related news since that kid didn't fall from a weather balloon. On the scene with analysis is child relations expert Max Attwood.
Thanks, Paul. I'm here exactly 150 metres from Largs Bay Primary School in Adelaide. I'd be closer, but there's this whole legal thing. I'd rather not go into it. Anyway, Principal Julie Gale has banned Year 6 and 7 students from hugging each other, in a move which has delighted those who like seeing unhappy kids.
A ban on hugging? That sounds somewhat archaic. I mean, puritanical even.
Not to me, Paul. I hate all this cuddling, touching, clasping. You know what I say? Clasp dismissed. And, to be fair, it is not an outright ban on hugging. The children are free to envelop each other in their warm, tiny embraces, provided it is only as friends. The ban applies only to children who are dating each other.
Won't this have some serious negative effects?
Not for those of us who aren't dating children, Paul. Principal Gale has stated, quite rightly, that older students need to set a strong example for younger students.
Max, you can't possibly agree with such Orwellian measures.
I agree wholeheartedly. What could be more corrupting to young minds than the sight of committed couples enjoying each other in ways that should only be seen in the marital living room? Oh sure, I was young once. I remember the urge to hug around a bit, jump from one girl's arms to another, even try out that three-way hug I'd read so much about. But by the time you hit Year 6, it's time to recognize that an adult relationship means hands off.
So I take it you experienced similar rules yourself?
Absolutely, Paul. I went to a religious school. We lived life by a very simple rule. No intimate physical contact between students, except in phys ed, and then only when the teacher was involved.
That sounds astoundingly illegal.
And sure, some kids were hugging in the hallways, making out in the classrooms, and furiously dry humping in the science labs. But I never took part in any of that. And do you know why?
Because you were ugly and no one would go near you?
Because I respected the rules, Paul. I realized, as these teachers do now, that too much physical contact only leads to evil. Let me spin it for you in words you'll understand. In Star Wars, Anakin Skywalker met Padme when he was around the age for grade 6. He started hugging her, and soon, pow! The downfall of the Jedi at the hands of the Sith. This is what we're trying to prevent, Paul.
Well, actually, Anakin was only 9 when they met, and they didn't become a couple until he was like 20. And as for the whole downfall of the Jedi thing, I mean...
Nerd! God! Ruin a perfectly good analogy. Okay, what about all these kids in Year 12 being suspended over muck-up week? I'll bet they were hugged when they were children. Hugged a lot. These thugs bashing people on the street, hugging fiends since kindergarten. And Brendan Favola. Old down, dirty, drunken Favola. I tell you now, that man doesn't consider it a day unless his arms are exhausted, drooping and flaccid from his wild, unchecked, animalistic hugging.
So if the children are banned from hugging...
What are they allowed to do? I had the exact same thought, Paul. I decided to take a trip into the school to find out exactly what the limits are for these kids. Roll the tape, Scott. What? What do you mean we can't show it? Evidence of what? Oh, this stupid legal system!
Max Attwood, getting his hands stuck in the cookie jar of life once again.